Yes, we are here with you today because we would like to share messages and share energy and share frequency. Because when it comes down to it, all that humans are frequency. Yes, you live in a physical suit while you are on the earth plane. However, what you truly are, besides source, is frequency. So frequency matters. So we will be sharing our frequency and energy with you in what they call downloads. Now, these are given to you all the time when you are willing to connect and turn inward. You, again, do not need to be channeling or necessarily listening to a channeling to receive frequencies and download. You just need to place a hand or both hands on your heart or your heart center, and you can receive downloads. When you focus on your heart or your heart center, you are connected to source. And we have a more direct connection to source than you do because we are not in physical earth suits at this time. Now, there have been several of us in this collective that have been in earth suits before and will be in earth suits again because the understanding is that time is not linear. Time moves forward and backwards and is happening all at the same time. You normally see timelines going from right to left or left to right. We are not too sure on directions because directions are not necessary. But you can think of multiple timelines, which you have as multiverses, multi directional sort of things. Now, in our way of thinking, these things are not necessary. These words are not necessary. We and others that channel through this vessel, we are using words that she understands that make sense to her. Because if we were to just tell you certain things, actually, we wouldn't even be speaking in words. It might sound like we are going through her catalog of experience as dial up or a fax machine, if you are all old enough to remember those things, those screechy things. Now, and it might not even sound like that. Or, for instance, if you are, let's go to an even older reference, if you watch the movie Splash and the mermaid from the movie Splash, the noises she made during her trying to communicate were some awful screeching. Now, we do not sound awful, that is for sure. And there are some who tone, and there are some that do sound a vibration. This one here feels too subconscious, too self-conscious, not subconscious, too self-conscious to do toning, although she does enjoy. And there are some channelers, for instance, Daniel Scranton, who channels all sorts of beings and all sorts of entities. And often before they come in, they make all sorts of noises. When she first started listening to that, she was kind of put off. And then after a while, she enjoyed hearing those frequencies because she knows who is coming in. Now, you might be saying, well, we do never know who is coming in. And that is because when it comes down to it, things are changing, things are progressing. There, as has been explained in previous videos, that at one point people channeled in an unconscious state. They would be in trance channeling. And then people were awake in channeling. And now it has even got to the point of we do not, you do not, nobody needs to have an identification. Now, sometimes things will pop in. Like, for instance, the other day she has channeled archangels, and sometimes because there is a specific message that is associated with those beings or those collectives, that they will come out like that. However, the new way of doing things is a little bit more loose. And the fact is, we have, and others that have channeled as well, have said that anybody can channel. And also, when you are listening to channeling or reading any channeled material, you are channeling. Again, as was said the other day, she is nothing special. We don't mean this in a putting down sort of way. We mean this in because everyone and everything is source. Even the pup sitting next to her, chewing on her chewy, is a source as well. Even her chewy, which is not, has never been an actual bone, if you will, has never been an actual creature, it still is source, even though it is what you refer to as an inanimate object. However, bringing us back to where we started, you are frequency. And the idea of this channeling, if it needs a main topic, was we just are happy to be here with you. And we know that those who have ears to hear will hear this. And she has made a pact of sorts to put something up every single day. So you can expect something will pop up on her channel every single day without fail. She will do these, which is strengthening and raising her frequency and vibration, if you will. Now, it is important that you find things that raise your frequency and vibration, and they might be different than hers. And also, they do not need to be the same thing all the time. You might find, for instance, that you like a certain sort of meditation, or you go to certain groups, or you listen to certain things, or you read certain things, or you do certain practices, and you might find one day that that practice no longer works for you. Now, it works for you doesn't mean it's something is wrong with it. It just means you are in a different place. And your frequency as the day goes on, as it starts out, as you drift off, will be different from day to day. Now, because you are part of Source, you are part of everyone on the earth plane. So you are affected by Gaia herself. You are affected by the sun, his self, and you are affected by all sorts of things that are going on, temperature dropping or rising, or pressure building or lowering. Those things can affect you. And when you are working on your frequency, once you become aware, there is nothing wrong with, yes, you rise, you fall, you rise, you fall. Because if you are constantly in a steady state, it would be very boring. And again, as mentioned previously on other channelings, the whole point of you being here on the earth plane is for experiences, for the monad, for source, if you will. And that is, everything is different from day to day, from minute to minute. Now, we know to not interrupt your life as a physical suit walking around on your earth, that sometimes you like to be balanced, because there are people who have to take medications because their mood's swinging up and down. However, they might be, there can be chemical imbalances, of course, because suits are not perfect. However, the being inside the suit is because it's source. And again, your heart center or your heart, whichever you feel more comfortable. Some people feel more comfortable putting their hand over their physical heart. Some people feel more comfortable putting it in their heart center, focusing on the chakra. Neither is wrong, both are correct. Now, there are some benefits to actually putting your hand on your heart because you can feel. And for some people, having some sort of feedback, some physical feedback, because you are in a suit, having some form of physical feedback, you can benefit from that versus right over your heart chakra or your heart center, where it is more of a imagine thing. And some people are literal, some people are imagine. And some days you may move back and forth. And sometimes it is helpful too, because of the fact that when you do put your hand on your physical heart, you are strengthening your physical heart. You are balancing out, you are sending, you have energy centers in the palms of your hands that can add some help and some benefits to putting your hand on your physical heart. And again, just like anything else, when you get a puppy or when you have small children, sometimes having a stuffy or having something that has a heartbeat when they are no longer sleeping next to their mothers can soothe them. There have been toys and such that do have a heartbeat to help. Now, your frequency is important. And again, it will change. And as you get more comfortable with being heart centered, which is when you would like to, for instance, remember every day, all the time, that you are source, because frequencies raise and lower as you forget and you fall back into the illusion that you are this physical suit instead of you are source. Your heart center, or your physical heart, if you will, is where you get that source connection. It is your heart center, is where your source comes from. So these things like the heart coherence and heart math and those types of things where you're connecting with your heart are important because you are connecting with source. This is the place to come. You have heard of mindfulness practice. This is great. However, your heart center is where it is at. This is your place where people might have termed soul. This is where your soul is. This is where the source connection is in this very place right here. And the reason for this placement of it is it's because there's a connection. If you think of the heart chakra, it is between the lower chakras, which connect you to the physical, because the lower chakras have to do with more earthly things. Like your root chakra very much definitely is about survival, and your sacral chakra is about creation, which could be creativity or reproduction, which is very physical. Your solar plex chakra is how you feel in your physical body, emotions, and how you deal with that from a physical earth plane experience. Now, once you hit the heart, you have energy from the actual earth suit and your connection to the earth. And then you also have the higher chakras and the connection to source coming directly down into that, into the cosmos. So there are meditations where people are grounding down into the earth and then also connecting to the center of the universe and that sort of thing. So this is the balance point. This is the point that locks you into your connection. I am source, and I am also one with my suit. I am one with source. And this is where you find that balance. So, me living a heart centered life is how you can raise your frequency and keep it stable, because it is all well and good if you can really be high samadhi bliss, whatever you choose to think is the place, enlightenment, if you will. It's great if you can keep it there. If you cannot keep it there, there is a problem, because once you drop down, then you feel awful once you have experienced that high point. So, right at that heart center, living from that heart center, you can lift up, you can drop down, but there's always that place that's right in the middle. And there is that frequency of the earth, which is a good place for that heart center to be beating at. And you can look up the exact number because it changes. The earth's heartbeat itself changes and the frequency changes. And as was mentioned on other channelings on this channel, is the fact that there are different, the Schulman resonance and all these different frequencies that you can go find and connect yourself with the frequency. And there are also places that will tell you what the frequency of the earth is that day, and you can modify. You can also just have the intention, because when it comes down to it, intention is the most important part. Again, just like with channeling, as we went off onto that little side street with channeling again is changing, and so is everything else. You are coming into a place where, in a time, if time existed, but for you right now, time does exist, but you are coming to a moment, a place, whatever you want to choose to look at things, you are coming into a space where things are speeding up, where the frequencies are getting higher, and the things are less physical that you need to do, less concrete. You can indeed do things just via your intention. So if you have the intention to be in your heart center, you can be in your heart center. If you have intention to have your heart center sync up with the heartbeat of Gaia, then you can do that. You no longer need to have to be exacting. This is not rocket science. This is beyond that. And you will notice and things will change again, as they had said on other channelings, that science is not lying to you when it says theories, and it changes because as you change, as you grow, then the new sciences will open up. You, just like you will hear channelings, you can go back to the first channeling and things have changed since then, and things will contradict. You can, the first time someone channeled is going to sound very different to people channeling now in 2026 because things are different. You have a greater understanding, just like when you had telescopes and microscopes being developed, you had a whole new world of understanding available to you. And this is what's happening now. You are changing, you are growing, and the frequency will keep changing. And as you get closer to the 17th of February, things will seem much more dramatically changing. And as you go through the year of 2026 and the fire horse, you will notice things will be full speed ahead. If you had a horse that was indeed on fire or made of fire, how quick would that be? You measure cars with horsepower. So again, Fire Horse says all there needs to be said. Now, thank you for tuning in with us, dear ones, and we will speak to you again. Be well, all our love.